Chef Mommy, and this is Charlie Martin. This is my youngest, and he's at home with me today, and he said, can I be in your video? Well, of course you can. Charlie, today we went on a very fun trip to the, where do we go, Charlie? Hello?
Get Flay.
No, where do we go? We got in the car and we drove downtown, and you ate raw corn there.
Oh, yeah.
What's that place called?
Farmer's Market.
Can you say it loud so they can hear you?
Farmer's Market.
Yes. We went to the farmer's market and we grabbed a couple of vegetables for dinner tonight. One thing that we thought was pretty cool was we grabbed some, look at that. Man, I guess as soon as you... We grabbed some purple potatoes. Look at that. They're really purple when you cut them, and they're so yummy. And no, because I don't want you to mess with this knife. This is like a real big person's knife. The cool thing about purple potatoes...
Can I get a knife?
No.
Okay.
Shh. Let mommy talk. The cool thing about purple potatoes is that they are full of antioxidants. So they're not just cool to see with the color that's purple, they're actually really good for you. Things that are colorful are things that are good for you. And I'm always aiming to find things that are good for us to eat, especially with my family. So today I'm gonna make some purple mashed potatoes, or purple potatoes of some sort. And I'm gonna make some cabbage, which I didn't get at the farmer's market. But I am gonna make cabbage and corned beef. Oh. Well, not really corned beef, but the ultimate beefless ground, which is gluten-free, and it's by Gardein. And we're gonna saute some cabbage up with some peppers and this beefless ground and make a really yummy and colorful meal today. So stick around while Charlie helps me. We're gonna take the first couple of leaves off of our cabbage, and then we're going to chop it up, because the first leaves are always kind of rough, excuse me, like a covering. So we'll get that started, and then once we have them all chopped up, we'll get back with you and show you how we turn this into a wonderful dinner. See you in a second. Hey, so I have my, I have one sweet onion that I chopped kind of big, and I have one huge garlic, and I put some olive oil in the bottom of my pan. I'm going to saute this, and I used about a half of maybe a quarter. Sorry for all the mess. I should have gotten a little bit neater for you guys. Some red bell pepper. And I have about a quarter of a big yellow bell pepper, because remember, there is healing and there is awesomeness in colorful things. So I'm just gonna saute this a little bit. And I told you I had some Gardein crumbles. I'm gonna add this to my saute because they are frozen, and I did about 2 cups because I don't want it to overpower my my cabbage. So I'm gonna start off with the 2 cups and see what that ends up like for us. Honestly, guys, this is how I usually start off a meal in my kitchen. I don't always know exactly what I'm gonna make, and this will be something new that my kids have never had. We make cabbage a lot in the kitchen here, but I never make it with beef or cabbage and beefless beef, that is. So we're gonna see how that comes out. I'm gonna let it saute a little bit longer. And sometimes veggie meats, this one is gluten-free, which I'm happy about. And sometimes they can be a little bit salty. So you notice I didn't add any kind of salt to it yet. And I usually I usually add salt to my seasonings. All right, so I'm gonna saute this up a little bit longer until I think, well, I'm gonna now just start adding my, actually, I'm gonna saute it a little bit longer, and then I will, I've chopped up a tomato, but I'm undecided on whether I really wanna put this in here or not. What say ye? I wish you guys could talk to me through the screen. I think I'm gonna leave it out for now. If I change my mind, I'll saute it on the side and see if I'd like to add it in there. All right, see you in a second. So I have a couple of seasonings here. I have Spike. This is one of my favorites, and they sell it with salt and without salt. This one has salt, about 160 milligrams for 1/4 a teaspoon. So I just put about that in the pot here, and this stuff is starting to stick. So I think I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil to the bottom of my pot before I start adding the cabbage into it, because it's sticking in. We don't want a burnt taste in the pot. Now I'm gonna add the cabbage. Oh, this is just pretty. I love pretty meals in color because it just makes you feel like you are eating something great when it's beautiful and colorful. All right. And then maybe you probably, we'll see. Cabbage makes its own water because it's a vegetable that has a lot of water in it already. So, but I'm going to add a little bit of water because I think I must have my fire a little bit high because my veggie meat is still sticking. Water! To the rescue, just a little bit on the bottom. So we can get that cabbage to start cooking. So this is one small head of cabbage. I use 2 cups of Gardein crumbles, and I use some yellow peppers and red peppers. I use garlic and onion. And I am still debating whether I'm going to do a tomato in this. Right now, I haven't put any seasoning in my pot. Well, I put a little bit of Spike already, and I'm gonna try and get all of my cabbage in. I was trying to let it cook down. Usually I layer the seasoning as I add the cabbage as it's cooking down so that it all, but today I'm rushing because I'm late. I've got to go get the kids from school and I don't have that much time, and I really want food to be done before they get home so I can spend time talking to them instead of having my head over the stove while they're home. I like pepper. I'm gonna put a little bit of cayenne pepper. I don't know if you guys always heard, but I always heard that cayenne pepper is better for you than black pepper or white pepper, that your body doesn't digest black pepper. So I try and use it sparingly because it is a very great tasting seasoning, but it's probably not that great for you. So you never want to do something that's not great for you. I have here some onion powder, and I would imagine that I have put, even though I put onions, I always put the dried seasoning, maybe a teaspoon of that and a teaspoon of garlic powder. I have a little bit of liquid smoke I'm adding to it. And I told you guys I have Spike. I also like basil because basil tends to give things a meaty flavor. So I'm gonna sprinkle basil pretty generously over my cabbage right now. And I put no salt. I'm going treading softly with the salt. A little bit of salt in there. And as you go, you want to taste your food to see if it's tasting good, that you're not over seasoning things, because you don't want to do that. My Gardein crumbles are still sticking quite a bit. So I am going to stop rushing, and I'm going to turn my fire down a little bit, and I'm still going to add a little bit more water that I put earlier to see if I can get the cabbage to start kind of steaming. Now, I don't like mushy vegetables, guys, so be careful not to overcook your stuff. Overcooked veggies are nasty, and you've taken all of the fun out of them. You know what the fun is? The crunch. The vitamins. You don't want to cook the goodness out of them. All right? And oh boy, is that pretty or what? I think it's beautiful. And what'll be even more beautiful is if I can get my loving kids to eat this meal, right? I'll probably do some brown rice on the side of this. And I'm gonna give it a taste here to see if I need to put a pinch of sugar. I'm trying not make. So that is good. It is still crunchy, but oh man. This is gonna be a different thing that my kids will be trying. And I mentioned earlier that I was debating on whether to put the tomatoes in. It just depends. You know, you use recipes as your guide and you don't have to do everything somebody else does. You just have to use it as a springboard. And some of you crack me up who says, I cannot cook, so I need to follow that recipe, you know, word for word, measure for measure. If that is you, then hang on and keep following. So I have been babysitting this, and I put the top on it to let it cook down just a little bit. I got a tough cabbage this time. So you have to watch and see how much you think your cabbage needs. And if you don't want to cook it all the way down, if you want to have some crisp left to it, then don't overcook it, okay? But this is what it kind of looks like. And in my comments, I'm going to leave you exactly what I did to make the cabbage taste delicious for those of you who are like, I don't know what to add, how much to add. And remember I told you I was debating whether I was going to put a tomato in it, and I didn't want to drop it in there. So I have two tomatoes that I had left over, some fresh ones, and I put some olive oil. And right now I'm gonna just saute these, and I put a little bit of I'm gonna just saute them out, and at the end I'm gonna dump it on top of my tomatoes and on top of my cabbage. And of course, if you are like, I hate tomatoes, I would never eat tomatoes with cabbage, blah, 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 then don't do this. But I'm gonna put a little bit of liquid smoke in my tomatoes. And I didn't do an onion, fresh onion or garlic. You gotta kind of learn to use what you have on hand. So I'm gonna put a little bit of garlic and a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna put a wee bit of sugar on my tomatoes. And I'm just gonna saute it for a while. And if I feel like eating tomatoes on top of my cabbage, I'm gonna add it at the end to the cabbage. And I'll probably leave it separate because I live with picky schmickies. Anybody else live with a picky schmicky? Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like tomatoes. We don't like anything. Okay, so as you can see, the tomato on top won. I sauteed the tomatoes really quickly in a skillet by itself in a pan, and then because I was so indecisive about what it would taste like, I did it separately and I put it on top. So there you have it. That is it. That is my version of cabbage and corned beef with fresh sauteed tomatoes. All right.